This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome in, everyone, to this edition of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. This is your WrestleMania 41 Go Home show. We're going to get into all of the riches of WrestleMania Night 1, Night 2, AEW having their best show of the year, maybe their best show in 2 years. We're going to talk about it, going to break it all down. Of course, we'll have some news and notes on the back end, helping you sort through all of it. He's the one. He's the only. He is the Doc John Macaroon, and I know he is lathered up with just the right amount of baby oil for WrestleMania. What's up, sir?
Yes, sir. 2 days of WrestleMania. The week has been crazy. WWE has been all over social media, all over the sports world. It's just crazy. When WWE shows up, it's just a wild scene. Triple H still might be talking during his Hall of Fame speech, an hour speech after midnight. That's wild. That's crazy. It's still going on. Maybe the sight of all the wrestlers trying to stay awake, battling for their lives, sleeping on camera was utterly hilarious. But look, when WWE comes to town, it's awesome. I can't wait to talk about it because there's literally 50 ways they could go with some of their storylines, and they all would be awesome. So let's go. We're going to kick it off talking about the best week that AEW had. And kudos to them because they were able to run Dynamite longer than Nitro. And that's an accomplishment to not get canceled, to not be an outfit that, even though there's a lot of criticism, they've stuck to their guns. They've made money. They've been an outfit that has made news. They've basically forced a years-long battle with the internet wrestling community. They have been truly the number 2 company, so kudos to AEW. Could they be so much better? Yeah. Are they downsizing? Yeah. But in the end, they're committed to the wrestling portion. At some point, someone's going to say, okay, there are some entertainment dollars that could be made at a higher level if we do enhance our storylines, but they've done that. And you're starting to see a little bit of what the creative vision could be when you add creative vision entertainment to a great wrestling program. So kudos to AEW. I thought they had a really good Dynamite.
Yeah, look, this was one of the best Dynamites. Then if you happen to watch any Collision that appeared on Thursday, Collision was decent as well. But we kicked off AEW Dynamite. We ended up having the debut of Josh Alexander, who took on Hangman Page. I know you're a big Josh Alexander fan. You watched him a lot when he was in TNA. There's been rumors and speculations about him possibly going to WWE, possibly going to TNA. The word on the street was he was going to sign with whichever company gave him the most money. So it appears that AEW gave him more zeros behind whatever number that was. What did you think about this match? Because I thought it was good, but I thought the ending was weird. And I want to talk about what AEW does with its debuting talent, because to me, it's a bit of a head scratcher. And in my head, I just wouldn't book it that way. But what did you think about this match? Because I thought both these guys got their work in. I thought Hangman showed out. I thought Josh Alexander looked really, really good in his debut match. I just feel like TNA does this thing with guys that are coming into their company. They don't do a really good job of kind of laying the foundation for who they are. They just kind of like, here's Josh Alexander. There's been rumors about him coming. He's here. Instead of really giving you a little bit of a backstory if you're not as familiar with who Josh Alexander might be.
Absolutely. Here's the part that's weird. I think now it's pretty much a situation in which we can kind of assume that debuting wrestlers don't get over right away out of respect for the company, I guess. It kind of maybe has the feel of, well, you're coming into a new company. We already have established wrestlers. If you come in and beat our wrestler, that diminishes the guy that's already on the roster. It has the feel because what you're saying is all these wrestlers that come in don't end up winning their debut match. It's really weird. I just think it's wrong because just look at the opposite of how Penta and Rey Fenix have kind of looked like bigger than what they are. And I think it's diverging philosophies. I think it's a wrong philosophy. I truly believe that a superstar like Josh Alexander is somebody that has been through the wars, somebody that you don't even need to, like, it's like It is so true, and I think we are right. Tony Khan gets excited like me on Christmas, and I would do it too. I would sneak on the 23rd, and I don't know if you ever did this, but I would like creatively unwrap what it was, peek in the box, and then rewrap it, and then act surprised on Christmas because I just want to know. I want what I want, and I want it now. And I want to know. I don't care about surprises. And that's how I've always been. If I want something, as evidenced by the 12 wrestling belts that are in this office, I just like I'm an impulse buyer. I'm a sucker for commercialism. I get something, I want it, I just push the button. And Amazon has ruined my life for the good, in a good way, because you get stuff and you just. And I think with wrestling, Tony's like, I got Josh Alexander, boom, he's right there. Like, you could have did great promos, vicious, violent highlights. You could have debuted him and made him a bigger individual. Instead, he gets a 5-second pop, if that. He wrestles and he loses, which I do not agree with, simply put.
And that's the thing I don't get, right? I don't understand how you debut a guy and you debut them in a losing effort. And this isn't the first guy that's done this. This has happened seemingly with at least their last couple. You had Kevin Knight debut against Will Ospreay in the Owen Hart. He ends up losing. Like, in their big matches, these guys are losing in their big debut matches. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. All that being said, this was a fine story to get them, I guess, where they're going, where Josh Alexander ends up siding with the Don Callis family and is now part of that. If you watched any bit of Collision, you had Trent Beretta make a return. Him and Rocky Romero, they reformed Roppongi Vice, and they also joined the Don Callis family. So Don Callis family is filling out with members as Brian Cage is on the shelf, recovering from a knee injury. But to me, it was just a little bit weird to have a guy debut in this match against Hangman Page, and then Hangman gets the victory. And it feels like if you're new, we're going to put you up against somebody who is really, really highly thought of in the company, but you're not going to get the win. And I just don't know if I would debut somebody that way. I do think that AEW, and specifically Dynamite, was really capped off with a fantastic match between Will Ospreay and Takeshita. I thought this was an incredible match. This was out of 10. This match was definitely an 11, and you got it on regular TV. Will Ospreay threw everything and the kitchen sink at Takeshita. He was kicking out of what seemed like every finishing move Will Ospreay could throw at him. In the end, Will Ospreay does get the win, but it took a lot for Will to get that victory. Takeshita comes out looking incredibly strong in this match. I know you had a lot of thoughts about this. What did you think of the Will Ospreay-Takeshita match? Oh,
it was awesome. It's like, okay, yeah, now you got something, and you have two guys that can definitely go. They can do the high spots. They can flip. They can engage you to want to watch. So it was very intriguing. Yeah, it stinks because I think a lot of people would have wanted maybe Takeshita to win the match, but Will Ospreay is the man, and man, they look like superstars, and it was good because, and again, when you critique a wrestling company and they come out and they discuss it and they say, look, this is what we're going to pride ourselves on. We are all elite wrestling, and we can pride ourselves on guys being technically sound. They can get in the ring. We can go. We can have good wrestling matches, and if you want to just come and turn on a match, you just turn on Takeshita, Will Ospreay, and you got yourself some great entertainment, some great engagement. You were into it psychologically, back and forth. You were a little bit concerned when they're trying to flip and land on their feet from the top rope. It's crazy. And it's so true. Will Ospreay is the aerial assassin. Takeshita has the violent look, and he's got what it takes. They should have a prolonged program with some story behind it. I was impressed. It made the show, and it really, if you're going to highlight two great wrestlers, those are the two for AEW you want to keep highlighting for sure.
Absolutely. Agree with you 110%. I know something that really stuck out to you and that you enjoyed was the MJF Hurt Syndicate segment. Hurt Syndicate has a match. They end up winning to retain their belts. Next thing you know, MJF comes out, and MJF is now bringing gifts for both Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, trying to win their favor to join the Hurt Syndicate. MJF brings, as you typed in the text message, all the hoes, with lots of O's. What did you think of this segment? Like I said, I know you enjoyed it, but it just kind of put some words to it. It was funny. I don't know if for me, MJF bringing, as you said, all the hoes. I don't know if it does what it's intending to do. I feel like it makes MJF look a little bit smaller than he might need to look.
Yeah, look, it's entertainment. There is an aspect of like they're sitting down going, how can we rib each other? How can we pop? How can we get some intrigue and some a viral moment? And it was really interesting because that's it's a harken back to the past with the Godfather. So you're right. It's many people believe companies should be beyond that, but there still is. And there was an attack this week in sports on masculinity with a baseball sideline reporter getting some phone numbers of some ladies at the request of his play-by-play guy who was telling him, hey, go out there, get some numbers. And he's like, all right. And he started having a conversation. But, oh, man, female journalist said it set back the profession. It set off a debate about was it professional or, hey, it's just guys being guys, and everybody went into their camps. Look, I liked it because it's just you harken back to when you used to laugh with The Godfather, and it's wrestling. Again, this is not theater. This is not remember, really, in the end, wrestling is like an organized circus. And the more circus-like it is, the more funny it can be. And I think I think that MJF will always bring back the fact that he was a fan. He knows about The Godfather. He knows about the train and how fun it was and how hilarious it is. But yeah, you're absolutely right because you got the other guys in the ring, and it's kind of like, well, you know, it just really it made you laugh at MJF, which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, it was comical. In the end, both Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley thumbs down, but they do take the hose and they do to go to the back. So
yes.
Looks like they were having some fun. Anyways, this all brought you to the main event of Dynamite, and it was a trios championship that was being defended with Freebird rules. Apparently, this was not explicitly said. You kind of had to put it together yourself. This is a match where Powerhouse Hobbs subbed in for Hook, who's out injured. Yeah. Really and truly, this felt like it was an indie card with fill-in talent, as Jon Moxley was filling in for Pac for the Death Riders. So you had Claudio Castagnoli, you had Wheeler Yuta, you had Jon Moxley representing the Death Riders and the Trios champs. Taking on the Ops minus Hops. So you had Shibata, you had Samoa Joe, and then you had Powerhouse Hobbs. This was like a low-level pay-per-view match for AEW because there was so much chaos.
Yes.
So many run-ins. Again, this is just something that just to me feels completely overbooked.
Correct. Yep. Good.
And I don't know if you need to do that. In the end, the Ops win as Samoa Joe chokes out Jon Moxley, and now I think Powerhouse Hobbs is in the Ops. I don't know. It was very confusing. Help me.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. Overbooked, but we got new for the 19th time Trios Championships, and that's my note. Is that you gotta establish these three, let them have a run. You gotta create the belts, and they've just been switched around so much. It's basically who's hot this week. That's not what championships are. It's the culmination of who are the best three individuals as a trios. Let's not devalue the opportunity that you have here. And I think that Samoa Joe being the leader of this outfit, I think can be good. And I'm very happy. I think that it's good because you get a little bit of attention on the three guys now that have the belt, but now let them have it for a couple months. Let them enjoy the opportunity. Let them win. And to me, you know, the premise is I'm not a fan of trios championships. I know it's had a run in other outfits and other companies, and it's been a big deal. But I'm just not a big, huge fan of the whole concept. But if you're going to do it, now, it's not in my control whether you run it or you don't. So you have trios. You got to make it important. You got to make it worthwhile. Let them be important vignettes. Let them be in the background looking big and having opportunities against some guys that really want to take a shot. And you just got to make sure that you don't keep devaluing it. You keep doing it when you keep switching it and not telling stories. So hopefully this run is better than the last couple because it's just been with the Young Bucks and then with now Death Riders and the hodgepodge. No. Let's get this straight. These are the three guys. Let them defend it when they can.
And then if you watched Collision, John Moxley and the Death Riders come out. They're very upset the very next night, and they break a lot of stuff. Break a camera, throw a cameraman into a table, throw a bunch of chairs. They really do wreck shop around the ring, only for John Moxley to get in, cut a promo, and then challenge Samoa Joe. So we'll see where this goes. John Moxley very upset after losing the belts. Again, challenging Samoa Joe to a match. Crowd chanting, "Joe's gonna kill you." We'll see where that goes, but that's what's in store or in line for John Moxley next. It will be Samoa Joe, the only Samoan who's not related to all of the other Samoans in WWE, which is kind of weird. Speaking of WWE, I want to get your thoughts of these go-home shows for WrestleMania. WrestleMania takes place tonight, and it takes place on Sunday. We had our go-home shows for Monday Night Raw on Monday, and we had our go-home show on Friday for SmackDown. To me, it felt like Mondays was a much safer show. It felt like they were trying to get all of the talent to Saturday and to Sunday. I felt like Friday Night SmackDown had a little bit more action with it, a little bit more wrestling, but it also felt like a very safe show. You didn't want anybody getting hurt the night before the granddaddy of them all. I thought SmackDown was a little bit better of a show than Monday Night Raw. At least it held my interest a little bit more. I thought Raw was very good, but I thought SmackDown was better. I thought it was really capped off with a really good promo segment between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. But I thought SmackDown was just a little bit better than Monday Night Raw, but I thought they both stayed in their lane and they both kept it pretty safe. What did you think?
Yeah, it's a good question because that's my note, is that since Royal Rumble, has the build to WrestleMania been good? And I think given the context of how much is going on, it has been. Every story, every match has at least something that you could say, okay, there's been a conflict, there's been a reason, Now, could it have been better? Yeah. If it was another month, I think you could really flush it out in regards to the zenith of all these feuds, or maybe a couple more weeks. It just feels like it just needs a couple more weeks to marinate and get to the point. I love the way that a lot of these matches were built. I love WrestleMania, the card. I think there's a lot of intrigue and there's a lot of tone setting. So, look, given the parameters of all the moving pieces, it is what it is. And you can critique it. I'm going to, on this, take advice from Triple H. I'm just going to be a fan of how they got here. It was fast, man. From the Royal Rumble till now, it's like, damn, we just blinked and all these shows happened and here we are. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the week that WWE had. A lot of news, a lot of podcasts. Triple H did 3-4 podcasts. You have all these wrestlers getting their stuff over, nostalgia. It's basically a wrestling festival. And it's really a nice opportunity for the wrestlers that are outside the WWE to get into Vegas and make some money, make a name for themselves, do their thing. And it's basically a wrestling festival. And it's great to see. That's what it is. That's what WrestleMania should be. Not just WWE. The indies are all over. The shows, TNA did a show. It's just an opportunity to talk wrestling and to be around it. And I think for that purpose, WWE can be a spark plug for it. Now you got to deliver. That's the key. Is that the big thing that you can kind of surmise is that if you pick, when we look at these predictions, if we pick the opposite and we're wrong, there's still good reasons for a lot of these people that if we're wrong, still can you make a case for, okay, yeah, no, if Bianca wins the title, you can make a case for that. If Io retains, you can make a case for that. If Cena, Cody win, you can make a case legitimately. So the crazy part is this might be the first WrestleMania where each person that is on this card is a worthwhile participant. And that's what we've always kind of said about AEW, is that there's too many guys that are not important. And that's what Triple H has done, is that everybody on this WrestleMania card, every single name that you're going to read off over the next 40 minutes is worthwhile. There's some value. Could there be more? Yeah, and we'll talk about it. But each person that is on this card is special, and it feels like a stamp of their year, and it's really cool to see because there's a lot of matches and there's a lot of high-end talent, and that's all you can ask for is that Triple H stacked a card and left off names of so many good. You could stack a company with the names that are not performing. That's the sign of a strong company, that WrestleMania feels important with the best of the best, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you kind of set it up perfectly, and you said it perfectly earlier in this show. There's so much coming out of WrestleMania that they're going to be able to do. So depending on what that result is, it really does kind of feel like it's almost like a choose your adventure, right? Like if you look at the Gunther Jey Uso match, right? It's like, okay, well, if Gunther wins, you can go in this direction. If Jey Uso wins, you can go in this direction. It really does feel like with this card, you have a lot of flexibility going forward with the stories you want to tell. And it does feel like we got to WrestleMania incredibly fast. I feel like the one story that kind of took a long time to get there was the Gunther Jey Uso match.
Yeah.
That one felt like it was a little bit long. And it felt like they ran out of material very early on, but they did get it back on track, I'd say, the last 2 or 3 weeks. With that being said, it's been announced that is supposed to be your opening night match 1, the thing that's going to kick off all of WrestleMania. How do you see Gunther versus Jey Uso playing out? Does Gunther retain his World Heavyweight Championship, or does Jey Uso get crowned your new World Heavyweight Champion?
No, if it was any other spot, I mean, it's a perfect spot to kick off a win. The crowd gets hyped. I mean, it would be stupid. Like, you just kind of set the tone. You set the tone in Vegas with Gunther winning, the crowd would boo. And it would kind of set the tone for the next 2 matches. It's bad. It's bad juju. There's no way. Now, here's what I would do. Now, I'm going to tell you, on some matches, select what the Booker DOC would do and what I think is going to happen. Jey Uso's going to be the new world champ. He's going to get the culmination of his story. I mean, my God. And Triple H said it. Like, the crowd is into him. He is over in regards to crowd engagement reaction. He, in the building, could sell merchandise. It will be fine. Now, what I would do is I would not have had this match. This match deserves to be in the main event of night 1. It's the world title. What a cheap way to kind of devalue the Royal Rumble and the title, the gold around Gunther's waist, by having, now I know they're not the biggest stars, but the title should always be defended last. That's just the respect you give a title. Triple H may be different, but hey, we're allowed to differ. But I would have had closing night 1, Gunther win, but there's a guy that's not on this card that you haven't heard of. It stinks because of the situation, but if it could have worked out, Sami Zayn turning heel would have been awesome. And because he has a history with Jey Uso as a friend, could have came down and could have cost him the title. It's not going to happen, but it would have been great to have Sami Zayn kind of be a factor, because that ties the bloodline story into a way in which you could have Jey Uso get screwed. And WWE loves screwing their talent early on. But that would be a way to set up SummerSlam, and then Jey Uso could get maybe down the road next year's Rumble. But look, time's ticking. I think he's around 40 years old. So now's the time. I would percolate it more. But look, Gunther's had the belt. You got to make a new star. Wrestling is about making the stars. So Jey Uso wins. He is the new world champ, and he'll have a good run.
Yeah, I agree with you 110%. I think Jey Uso wins. I think he has a great run. He is so over right now. It would be silly to not capitalize on the momentum that he's built. And I think you can do an interesting story with Gunther chasing. And Gunther maybe now taking a little bit of time off after losing, because he's been wrestling for a long time. So maybe he takes a little bit of time off. Maybe he comes back with a slight character shift and a bit of a revamp. Or if he stays working, maybe it shows that there's a little bit of question in him. Maybe there's a little bit of concern. Maybe some of that confidence is now lacking in Gunther, and maybe it's his journey to find that confidence and regain his title. So I think there's a lot you can do with Gunther coming out of this. I think Jey Uso will have a fantastic run as your new World Heavyweight Champ. Next match, we've got Tiffany Stratton defending against Charlotte Flair. This is for the WWE Women's Championship. I think Tiffany Stratton wins this. I found the interview between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, I found it to really add nothing. I think coming out of it, I think it made me like Charlotte Flair even less. I already don't like her a whole lot, and I feel like her sit down with Wade Barrett just really made her look like she was an aging superstar trying to hold on for dear life for whatever. And I already have a hard time with Charlotte Flair, and it didn't do her any service. It didn't make me want to cheer for her anymore. And I get she's a heel, but just in real life didn't make me like her anymore. She came off to me as just the most unlikable person. And Tiffany Stratton, I don't think did a fantastic job really selling herself. I think she explained herself and what took place in real life with her situation with Charlotte Flair, but I don't think she did a fantastic job of really selling me on her character. All that being said, I think Tiffany Stratton retains her belt and she moves on as the WWE Women's Champion. Who do you think wins this match?
Yeah, this is tough, man. This is one of those tough ones because doesn't it feel like, okay, Charlotte's back, it's a moment, she's the vet, you feel like Tiffany chasing, there's some money there, but I have to agree with you because my vision has always been to go with my gut and what I think is best for business, and best for business is making a new star. And this is one of those deals where Charlotte has to make Tiffany into a bigger star. That's the goal. Whoever wins really in the end is going to be irrelevant because these are two stars that are going to be around for a while. I could see WWE easily putting the belt back on Charlotte because it's going to piss everybody off. And it's just one of those deals where Charlotte always ends up doing something. But no, you gotta make Tiffany. You can't. I think it devalues her too much in a situation in which you need to uplift her. She's got to be standing tall and win this feud. And I think that Charlotte can be a heel, maybe kind of ruin the moment where Tiff has got the belt over her head and she's celebrating, and then Charlotte just whacks her with a chair or does something to destroy her to let her know that, okay, it's not about the belt. I'm here to destroy you. Can't wait to see it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Also, I feel like if you put the belt on Charlotte, I feel like you're rewarding her for a lot of bad habits and a lot of bad tendencies that could have really wrecked this build for this story.
It's Tiffy time, baby. Let's go.
It is Tiffy time. War Raiders defend their world tag team titles against the New Day. Who wins this?
Man, this is tough. But I'm of the opinion that the New Days are bigger. I do feel like the War Raiders are a great tag team, but they don't have all the tools. I feel like heat in a tag team chase is great. I think that the New Day kind of needs to kind of get their mojo back as a heel tag team. They got to cheat to win. They got to have it where the War Raiders get a little bit screwed here. I expect it to be a great match, but I expect new champs, and I think it should be the New Day.
Yeah, I think it's the New Day as well. I think their whole storyline, since they've got white hot and then it's cooled again, I think their whole thing is they've kind of lost a lot. And I think this is one way to kind of help rectify that, right? Like, it's been a struggle to get to this point. They were at one point when they turned on Big E, they were white hot and everybody was mad at them. And then it just kind of fizzled because they kept getting put in match after match after match, and they would just lose and lose and lose. They'd do singles matches and lose, and it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Well, now you're here. You got here, and I feel like this is the perfect way to cap this off. And I think that if you really wanted to do something, and I don't know what his medical status is, Big E could maybe play a part in
turn heel with him,
showing up at the very end. So I'm going to go with the New Day on this.
Yep.
Next, we've got Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. How this made the card, I'm not really sure. To me, it feels like it's a bit of a favor for Rey Mysterio. Like you said, there's a lot of people left off this card. I feel like this was a bit of a handout to Rey Mysterio. That being said, I think Rey Mysterio gets the win. I think El Grande Americano is very interesting, and I think Chad Gable's portrayal of a luchador has been fantastic. But I think Rey gets the W here.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that Americano is actually Chad Gable? I thought Chad Gable was being disrespected and not on the card. Oh, I got to look a little closer here because I was excited about the debut of a character, of a new Lucha Libre. But we got to also pay attention if the match actually happens. If you saw, Rey Mysterio had a little bit of a situation after SmackDown.
Looked like he might have been hurt. Doctors were tending to him on the side.
So maybe it's one of those deals where Rey gets to get beat up by Grande. I think the plan is to get, clearly, we get to, let's not assume here that it's Chad Gable, but I think the finish is going to be, and I don't know here. I don't know if my sleuthing skills are that accurate, but I think that Rey Mysterio wins and Grande Americano gets revealed. I think there's a chance his mask gets taken off of his face, and we get to finally figure out who this masked man really is.
I thought the same thing. That's how I see it playing out as well. All right, next we've got Jade Cargill taking on Naomi. This match has a lot of heat.
Yep.
It's been a long story build. I feel like as we've gotten closer to WrestleMania, they've not really invested a whole lot of time in it.
Right.
It's weird. It doesn't feel like as long as we had the build up to the moment where it was revealed that Naomi was the one who attacked Jade, it feels like we've gotten a quarter of that time to really build this feud between the two. It's basically Naomi comes out, Jade chases her off. Naomi comes out, Jade chases her off. Naomi grabs the mic and tries to talk, Jade chases her out.
Right.
And that's it. How do you see this playing out? Jade Cargill wins this match, right?
Right, no doubt. You have to. You got to make her a bigger star than what she is. So I look at it like, okay, please, first and foremost, I want them to have a good match. I want everything to be in order. And then the way I wrote the note was, it was a weird build because a lot of the information was given by Bianca about her feelings about the feud. And it's like, that's never good if you're a character. You're like, can you give me a little bit more of an opportunity? It felt like basically that this last go-around with Naomi, it should have just been Jade on a microphone. Real simple. I mean, there's a guy there that maybe represents her as well, like Byron Sexton. Just stand there and be like, Jade, what are you going to do at this match? And she's like, I'm going to kick her ass. And you guys better keep your eyes glued. Don't go anywhere, because if you miss it, you're going to miss the violence and you're going to miss something that you've never seen before. I'm going to end Naomi's career. And you just have her stand there and just look pissed. Like, you could have had her in a business suit, like a nice outfit, not like all revealing and all that stuff. Just a nice outfit, just being out there talking and just letting it go, because it felt like SmackDown got a little bit promo heavy. And I just wish that Jade got a little bit more mic time, because I think she could have sold it a little bit more than she did. Yeah, that's what I wrote on my note here was good build, but not the best compared to everybody else. But Jade Cargill has to win. A new star is born, probably in a 12-minute match.
Yeah, for sure. And look, here, this is my thought, right? I feel like with Jade, you can do the Bobby Lashley promo, right? Where you have the person conducting the promo kind of leading Bobby Lashley. If you look at Bobby Lashley in TNA, when he really started to kind of refine some of his promo skills, his promos still aren't very good, but his promo skills got much better in TNA. And what they would do is they did something that really helped him. He's much better at having a conversation. He's a very intelligent guy, and he can talk. It's just when he goes to cut a promo, sometimes his brain gets moving a little bit too fast, and he flubs everything, and he forgets stuff, and then messes things up. And you can just see his brain like pausing live on camera. You can do that with Jade, right? Because she does that too. You can have the promo person who's conducting it just lead the questions. It's it. It's just having a conversation. Jade, how are you feeling about what Naomi did to you? What's going to be your actions? What are you thinking about this match? Stuff like that. And Jade can just be like, I'm going to destroy her. Or I'm going to break her in half, and I'm going to get my revenge.
Yeah, or
move on to the next question.
Yeah, or the other way you could have did it real fast is you're in Vegas. I thought it would have been cool. You have Jade looking cool in a nightclub, like just chilling, having some cocktails, bouncing to some music, and then Naomi just shows up and is like trying to get in or trying to weasel her way in and cause a little bit of a Vegas scene. You never seen a Vegas fight before? I felt like they could have used Vegas as a backdrop a little bit more, or even a cute vignette with Jade Cargill walking the strip and just saying, this is my town, this is my vibe, nobody's going to come take my vibe. And you just showcase a little bit. I think you could have used even a vignette to highlight Jade and not even the feud. Just highlight that this is a badass lady that's coming in, and you could have did it like an intro promo. Just her chilling saying, you all better watch me at WrestleMania because I am box office. Simple as that. But I just think that, yeah, they went too easy on the build.
Mm-hmm. Agreed 110%. Next, we've got LA Knight defending his United States Championship against Jacob Fatu. I think we both agree Jacob Fatu is coming out the champion here. Yeah,
it sucks because you could swerve everybody and let LA Knight win. I could see that happening. I truly believe I could see it happening, but as a professional, you have to know that Jacob Fatu is a monster, and the whole purpose is to keep establishing him on the rise. And LA Knight, I think you got to do something where LA Knight gets screwed, and it's not because I think LA Knight's strong, but he's kind of like one of those guys that was there last year that's taking a dip backwards, and you want to maintain his viability. It got capped off. His latest run capped off by his second U.S. title win. But it would not be a bad idea to have him win in a way that could still keep Jacob Fatu strong. But it'll be interesting to see. This one might have a chance if you don't have Fatu win to end in like a DQ where LA Knight wins it but keeps it, or Jacob Fatu wins it and keeps the title. Some weird wonk. This one has a chance because there's usually going to be at least one unusual finish. This one has a chance where a lot of people can get involved. Solo, Tamatonga, others could get involved that could cause Fatu. This could be the reason why he breaks apart, is that he had an opportunity, but his people cost him the belt. So I would not
Maybe
be
we get to see Hikuleo finally.
Yeah,
I
maybe,
don't know.
maybe a debut that helps him win. But yeah, I do think that Jacob Fatu's the monster, and he's the bigger star. So the bigger star's got to win.
All right, our next match. It's the triple threat. It's the main event. This is kind of what you were alluding to earlier. I don't know how we don't have a title match as our main event, but you owe CM Punk a favor.
Yep.
So here's your favor. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus Roman Reigns in a triple threat match. Who do you have coming out the winner here, and how integral is Paul Heyman in the finish of this match?
Bro, they've done a good job with the emphasis on Seth Rollins this week, so that he enters the conversation into being believable. The way in which he kind of he got his stuff over, which was really good. I feel like all three have a 33.3% chance of winning. So there's a 130% chance that we're going to be wrong in this opportunity, but I think there's going to be a 170% chance that this match is going to be awesome and told by some great characters. And there's probably going to be a 300% chance that Paul Heyman is going to be the prize of this matchup. So I'm excited to see how it shakes out. What's best for business? Well, it's probably because of Roman's schedule. You don't really see him winning because he's won so much. It's now in the era of kind of Roman putting some people over. Like, you still got to go further in his descent. So it's going to be between Seth and CM Punk, and I'm so torn. Like, I'm legit torn because CM Punk and Seth Rollins have a death feud. You want it to keep happening. I do feel like CM Punk is the bigger box office star that you want to parade around the world. But what's best for business, and that's how I'm going by it, is what everybody's kind of chattering about, which is really awesome. Now, the dream scenario is the favor is not really that. The favor is CM Punk has the baddest manager on the planet, and everything's going chaotic, and boom, Brock Lesnar comes out, destroys everybody, and it's a one-off, and boom, he destroys Seth Rollins for CM Punk, and he takes advantage of a tool and wins. That would be great. Or formulate a group with CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, I think would be great. Some muscle, but is it too much? I don't know. If there's some involvement with Brock Lesnar, I'd be happy. I would not be disappointed. Is the fire too hot? Probably. So I'm always a CM Punk supporter, but what's best for business is a complete shift, and the next era of the company is it's time. Paul Heyman should align himself with Seth Rollins. I think that, the wrestler's wrestler, the guy that has been in the company for so long, the guy that is the best wrestler of the bunch is Seth Rollins. And some way or another, I don't know how you get to the point where, I can't explain how you get to the point where Seth can be as white, hot, babyface over as he's been with the way this match could go. But I think Seth Rollins needs to win, and he needs to have the opportunity to get Paul Heyman in the mix and represent him for the next couple years. He could be world championship material. He could fight Jey Uso. He could even turn heel. It would be great. It would be very interesting to tell that story. I probably am wrong, because I think that the cookie cutter way is CM Punk wins it and he goes on and does his thing. But it just doesn't feel like at the spot that they've done a good enough job to make him be as over as Seth. And I think that there's a way to end the story in which Seth stands tall, and you can continue the blood feud with CM Punk by the stealing of Paul Heyman. Maybe that's just a simple bridge.
Yeah, look, I would like anything else than what I'm about to say, but I believe CM Punk's going to get the win. I feel like this is CM Punk's moment. I think Paul Heyman plays a very integral role in it, and I think it's going to affect whatever the Roman Reigns storyline is. I do agree with you. I feel like Seth Rollins was kind of the odd man out in a lot of this, and then he worked his way into it, and I feel like he right now is probably the most interesting piece in this story.
Yeah, he's the best guy.
I just don't. In the end, I see him being the one who's taking the pin.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've got CM Punk winning this match.
But see, okay. So then you have him winning. What's next? Is it then respect? Just I'm going for the title, because it doesn't seem like that's the logical leap. It seems like there's a continuation. It would seem to me that there's an opportunity to visit CM Punk and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. That seems to me like some money could be made, and then Seth Rollins could go for the title. But at the same token, there's so many different ways that these three could continue their feud because all three could feud. I mean, you could literally have Seth and Roman get back after it and build their story. So there's so many different ways to do this. And you're right. That's what I'm saying is that it would feel forced. It's just not, it sucks because I'm a big CM Punk fan, but the natural lineage of somebody that evolves, I think that it's Seth Rollins' time to kind of get back to 1-2 in the company. And you can't do it with guys. You can't do it with Roman Reigns and CM Punk because CM Punk is not the best wrestler in the world right now. He can get there. He can get there for sure. But they're still telling that story. So it's going to be interesting to see. But you probably are right. But I'm more fascinated as to what would happen next. What's the fallout? Because I feel like everybody could be close, but they could swerve everybody. And so that's the fun of this main event. I do think it's going to have a great chance to be a good match. You got CM Punk. I got Seth Rollins. And I think you and I are in agreement. Saturday night's card is sweet. It's nice. But Sunday's card is, if you miss Saturday, you're okay. Sunday, my God, it's the wrestling WrestleMania, and that's what's going to be awesome. I love Sunday's card as an A++, and I give Saturday's card a B+, but I'm excited for it all. What's coming Sunday, brother?
So night 2, I want to know what you thought, because we were kind of messing around last night as we were watching Friday Night SmackDown. It was me, you, and Kenny. We're kind of posting in the group chat, who's going to face Randy Orton at WrestleMania? Randy Orton's getting a WrestleMania match. And the funny thing was, all three of us had a different answer.
Right.
I want to get your answer. I want to put it down on here. If we get it right, we get a bonus point. If we get it wrong, whatever, no big deal. But it's a way to kind of kick off this new season of Calling the Card and kind of make it a little bit more interesting and try to get a little bit get an extra point or two. Who do you think Randy Orton's facing at WrestleMania? Who's showing up?
See, that's the problem, because is Randy now going to put somebody over? Would you bring somebody back to lose? That would be weird, right? So I think that I'm going to be wrong, but I think that you give it. Everybody thinks it's a debut. I think everybody thinks it's Aleister Black or Rusev. But you can't. I mean, as you guys convinced me, it doesn't make really any sense. Like you're gonna have Aleister Black take an RKO.
We just talked about it with AEW.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So the guy that could show up, get a pop, deserves his moment. It's got to be Nick Aldis. Just do it. You just
I like that.
Keep it 6 minutes. You no back bombs. Look, real simple, Randy. Triple H says no backbreakers, asshole, and he's like, okay, I won't call backbreaker. You just have punches. You just have kicks, and then in the end, you are in a position where Nick Aldis can just get DQ'd. You could have him get his ass, beat, whatever it may be. I feel like Randy Orton's in a time where he is a star and needs to establish himself. So I'm going with Randy Orton against Nick Aldis, and Randy Orton gets over. Nick Aldis just wants his moment, his chance to walk down the ramp at WrestleMania, and it would be a fun moment. It would be a great way to share what he's done in the business. Everybody deserves their moment, and I think that everybody thinks it's going to be a debut. I think the best for business is Nick Aldis. Let him get out there. Let him wrestle for 10 minutes. Get his WrestleMania moment. Let him enjoy his entrance, and then he takes the RKO 1, 2, 3, and then Randy stands over him and is like, "You are the dumbest commissioner I've ever seen," and walks off and be like, "You think you pissed me off before. Now look what happens." And then you can elevate Randy to take over the show and be like, "You know what? I'm going to come for your job. You think you're going to do this better?" And I think that kind of messing with Nick Aldis can be a very fun avenue for the next month for Randy Orton.
See, I love the Nick Aldis pick, and I would have gone Nick Aldis myself. I think it ends a little bit different. I think Randy ends up beating Nick Aldis, but in the end, Randy has respect for Nick Aldis because he came out and challenged him.
Yeah.
So I think it sets up a different dynamic there. That being said, you took Nick Aldis. I've got to go a different direction. I'm going to go with what I said in the group chat. I said Rusev. I feel like it is like we talked about. I feel like it's a silly way to necessarily debut a guy, possibly in a loss. And look, I don't know how this match would play out, but I think this would be a perfect moment and a perfect opportunity to debut a guy, to have a huge moment for a guy. Rusev is in Vegas. Rusev is supposed to be doing some stuff with an indie show. I believe it's on a Saturday, so it frees him up for a Sunday. I just feel like it makes too much sense, and it's already out there that he's re-signed with WWE. So to me, it just feels like you go that direction, you lean into it, and if Randy wins, Randy wins. If Rusev wins, Rusev wins. But I'm going with Rusev. And the thing is, they do have a history. I looked it up. They do have a history. You can lean into that a little bit.
Cuz, do you do the whole thing? Do you have the singer come out and go, Rusev Day?
With Aiden English?
Yes, you have him come out, and you have to have Lana.
He works for TNA now. You know that, right?
Yes.
And they've got a relationship with TNA.
That's what I'm saying. You do the whole, that's just, it goes black, spotlight, and everybody knows what's coming. 3-second pause, the crowd's going ape shit, and then it's Rusev Day. Lana comes out next. It's the whole thing. Could be very cool. So if I'm wrong, I hope it's the whole shebang at WrestleMania.
Could be very interesting.
Rusev Day is here.
So our opening match on night 2, what has been confirmed is it is going to be Io Sky defending her women's world title against Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair in a triple threat match. For me, this is one of the hardest matches to pick. I don't know where you go with this. I feel like they're all worthy. How do you see this playing out? Does Rhea Ripley get her title back, or is it again Bianca's time? Or is it Io Sky, who they've done a really good job of really making her feel like she's just kind of an add-on. She's a small piece to what is the actual story and not necessarily important. Does she rise above all of that, and is it kind of a moment where she is incredibly highlighted? Yeah,
I think the feud is clearly been established that it should be Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. And I don't think you need the title involved. I think that they have to cost each other the match. You got to elevate Io. I look at it like you given her the title a couple times only to have her lose it. That's disrespectful to the title, disrespectful to her. I think that's one way where the mission here is Bianca's a star, Rhea's a mega star, which if I'm wrong, it's going to be Rhea. She's the biggest star. And the opportunity then comes for those two to fight in a big setting. Do you need it to be for the belt? No. I think that you have it later on down the road. I think Io Sky's got to get over. Otherwise, you've invested in a character that has no meaning. And she's just basically, her definition has been basically a transitional champion both times. That's wrong. I think Triple H gives her the respect and the nod, and she gets her shit over. And the purpose of this match, 2 things. Get Io Sky over, and 2, however, we need to elevate the reason why Rhea and Bianca are going to kill each other at SummerSlam.
Yeah, look, I think the big story coming out of this is going to be Rhea and Bianca. They'll meet at SummerSlam. This could play a part in night 1. What if Bianca turns heel? Rhea's, at this point, basically a face. What if Bianca turns heel, and what if Bianca interferes in the Naomi Jade match and helps Naomi win? And that way, you've got a heel Bianca going into this match, taking on Rhea Ripley with Io Sky. Like I said, those two are going to go on to face at SummerSlam. Io Sky comes out the winner here, and she can kind of go do whatever she's going to do. But it feels like those two are destined to meet later on in August. And I just see you could add a little bit of a twist with the heel Bianca. And I almost want to go back and change my pick with the Naomi match.
No, it's all good. But, hey, a lot of different ways. That's what's great, is that you could see Rhea winning. You could see her standing tall and Bianca being jealous. A lot of different ways this could go.
Absolutely. Next match, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Does Logan Paul get the win here, or does AJ come out the victor? How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, it's always tough, right?
Yeah.
Logan is, look, it's AJ Styles. He don't need to get wins anymore. The deal is AJ's going to make Logan Paul look fucking sick. That's how the joy of AJ Styles. Logan, it really, when you have a guy that shows up 5 times a year, does it make sense for him to lose at WrestleMania? I think you dim the star. It's just one of those deals, man. It sucks. You never pick against AJ Styles unless you realize he's wrestling a guy that wrestles 6 times a year and he's a mega star, and you got to keep hyping him up. Like, I think that Logan Paul is legit. He's an attraction. He should be somebody that should be white hot. And so the goal and the mission is going to be for Logan Paul to execute a couple good high spots. AJ Styles is going to sell his ass off, and he's going to make Logan Paul a bigger star. And that's the joy of having AJ Styles. He knows what's best for business, and to be in this match is going to be great. And if you're AJ Styles, you're like, all right, how do I get my ass in a video, in a clip that gets 25 million views? All right, Logan, all right, I'm laying on the table, and you're gonna do a flip off the top rope, but it's not a frog splash. You got to do a 360 move. You got to do some crazy shit off the top rope and destroy me on the table, and it'll get 35 million views, and AJ gets an opportunity to go viral. But it's going to be a great match. I do think it's going to have a great way to see how an older vet gets a young guy into the next level who's already pretty sweet as it is. Logan Paul wins.
Yeah, I think Logan Paul probably wins too. I like AJ Styles at that point in his career where he's looking to put guys over and help make dudes. I think that's kind of what he's going to do here. He's going to help put Logan Paul over and help make a dude. As much as I'd like to see AJ Styles win, I don't know if he gets the dub here. Next match, we've got Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez taking on Bayley and Lyra Valkyria for the women's tag team titles. I've got Liv and Raquel winning. I think there might be some outside interference with Dom. I feel like you can spin this off and you can get a little bit more out of this, and maybe it culminates at SummerSlam between these four women. But I've got Liv and Raquel defending and retaining.
Exactly. All good. Should be a good match, but probably one of the least relevant on the card.
Yeah, it was just kind of thrown together last week, so, you know. Next, we've got Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre in a Sin City street fight. Who wins this? Also, Drew McIntyre just signed a deal with The Rock for his No Bull shoes with Under Armour.
Yeah,
he's now the spokesmodel for it.
Yeah, no, the bigger star's got to win. It's got to be Drew McIntyre. I mean, it's just one of those deals. Drew's been taking. I mean, what's the point of Drew if he keeps losing all these feuds? It's like you can't do it. You just can't do it.
Yeah, I feel like the smarter money is with Drew. Damian Priest, as good as he is and as much as he's growing, I just don't feel like he's necessarily on that level. Like, he's not the guy that you're paying to go see. Drew McIntyre is, however. So I feel like Drew gets the dub here. One of the matches that we find to be one of the more interesting ones, Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, and Finn Balor. According to Braun Breaker, he's got, 133% chance of winning this match. He did some Steiner math, which is cool. This is a fatal four-way for the IC belt. Who wins this? Do they actually put it on Dom, or is Penta now a new champion, or does Finn Balor get a belt and kind of get the spin off and do something, or does Braun retain? This is tough. Who do you think wins this match?
No, legitimately, they all got 25% chance to win, and they all equally are worthwhile. I would probably power rank it. Dom is the worst, probably Finn third, Penta second, Braun first. But It's tough because Braun doesn't need a belt. Like, he's just a fucking freak. And WrestleMania is a time to make new people. Wouldn't it kind of be, you're Penta, you want to make a new star, but at the same token, you got to go with what the tea leaves are saying. And the tea leaves are saying that Finn Balor is kind of getting his mojo back. And it's a perfect avenue for, getting over in his entrance, getting over in the match, walking out the new Intercontinental Champion. And you have better opportunities to feud with. I mean, literally, it's the connecting. He can feud with Dom. He can then feud with Braun, who wants the belt back. And he can feud with Penta, who was the first person that took the stomp to the chest and got a loss, was in a tag match. So I think best for business, go Finn Balor.
I'm going Dominic Mysterio. And both of us got a title change. I think Dom gets the belt, and I think it leads to an interesting story with Finn.
Yeah.
And then you can spin Braun off to go do whatever Braun's going to do. You can have Braun and Jacob Fatu fight for that U.S. title if you wanted to.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with Dom here.
Yeah.
Penta, you can do just about whatever you want to do with Penta. I think he's going to be a star. I think in the end, it might be Dominic Mysterio pinning Finn Balor, which leads to, like I said, all kinds of interesting stuff later on down the road. All right, that leads us to our main event. Cody Rhodes defending his championship title against John Cena. Now, look, like I said, I thought we had a fire promo from both John Cena and Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. I thought it was awesome. I thought both these guys went haymaker for haymaker with each other, and it was 10s on both sides. I thought they did a great job building towards this evening, towards Sunday on Friday night. I thought it was fantastic work there. Who do you think wins this? Does John Cena get crowned the 17th time, or does Cody retain and continue his story?
This is tough because I basically lied this podcast. On this pick, I'm going with what I want. I think Cody wins it. I mean, he's best for business, printing money. He's doing whatever. He's popular. He stood toe to toe and delivered great lines back to John Cena. I wouldn't have built it that way. I would have built it with Cena being physical with Cody. Like, look, did we really need to know that Cody could talk back shit to John Cena? We knew John Cena could talk. We knew Cody could talk. It's just, I thought the lazy way. They should have been a little bit more. I don't need John Cena being the heel talker because it comes off as like, this is prototypical heel. This is what a heel's supposed to say. The fans, and it's boring. I thought it was not unique, but I'm going with what I want. I want John Cena to use heel tactics with The Rock, with whoever. Maybe a new member joins. Maybe it's CM Punk. Maybe it's somebody else. I want a new heel group, and I want the finishing thought of WrestleMania is John Cena, The Rock, and Travis Scott standing over Cody Rhodes with the belt. Rock puts the belt and clamps it on John Cena and lets everybody know with the microphone, get ready. You thought this was crazy? It's only going to get worse for everybody. Cody Rhodes was just a pawn. Cody Rhodes was just step one. The final boss and John Cena, we're not here just to take titles. We're here to take companies. And you just walk off. Nice and simple. Bigger goals. You piss off Cody by devaluing him. The problem is Cody's like fucking printing money. And he can get cheered and booed, and the crowd in Vegas was weird. But look, it was weird.
It
was weird to see that.
Booing Cody. I was like, are they booing Cody? What's going on here?
No, because everybody loves the heel. It's NWO style. But in the end, I just think that for the interesting of the story, like, what's the point? If you only do the shock value of having John Cena be heel, you got that. But it cheapens the value of what a heel should do. A heel should cheat. A heel should steal from the face. And that's one side of it. And then in the end, the face should win. But the face should win is, in the end, next year in December, or if they can extend it out to the Rumble, the end of John Cena should be Cody Rhodes beating him to win the title back. So John Cena should hold the title for 7 months and be the heel guy, and Cody should go after it, and others should go after him. And in the end, you don't turn John Cena heel to take a loss at WrestleMania. That would be kind of stupid. I just think that he cannot win clean. Someone will cheat. He will steal the title from Cody Rhodes. That's what you're supposed to do if you're going to get heat on a heel. If you just want to be cheap and get the pub to draw WrestleMania, then you just say, okay, it ends with Cody. But then where do you go from John? Where do you go from here? You literally killed John Cena. There's nothing that I want to see. If Cody wins, I don't want to see. There's nothing I want to see. I mean, what is he going to do? You can't build yourself up in 7 months to something where it's relevant. It's stupid storyline wise. Like, you got to be able to continue the story. I mean, you just literally scratched the surface, and now it has to have the title. It has to have Cody getting pissed, and Cody needs to stick in this story for the next year. This is his story, and you can tell it. Now, the first wave was the basic, we talk shit to each other. Then the next is Cody getting pissed and getting his title back and facing the wall of The Rock and everything. So to me, that's the story. That's what I want to see, and that basically will dictate to me if this is a good WrestleMania or a bad one. John Cena has to win this match.
So you got John Cena winning.
John Cena, baby. Heel. Rock fucks up Cody Rhodes.
Yep. So I've got John Cena winning as well. I think The Rock plays a part. And then I think you can come back either at SummerSlam or you can come back, like you said, at the Rumble. And that's where Cody Rhodes gets it. And it's basically Cody trying to
every which way,
fight his way to the top to get to John Cena. Having to go through The Rock if The Rock is available. Having to go through John Cena. Travis Scott if he's going to actually wrestle. Also, Cody Rhodes said that Travis Scott has a receipt coming for what took place at the Elimination Chamber. So there are things that you can do here, but I think John Cena wins this. I think he gets crowned his 17th championship and erases Ric Flair's name from the record books.
What if it's finally united I mean, I probably wouldn't if you want to. If you got part-timers, I'm not opposed to Roman Reigns, John Cena, and The Rock aligning with each other. That would be pretty sweet. If Roman's pissed at what happened, who cost him the title? It was who broke up his family. It was Cody Rhodes. So nice little John Cena staring at the referee, holding him back. Roman Reigns kind of comes out through the crowd. Little nut shot to Cody. Boom. You tie in last year's Mania to this year's. 1, 2, 3. Little wink nod to Roman Reigns, and you go, hey, we're the guys that built this business. You're just a pretender that's riding. And you have the reason, you have everything. You get the Rock relationship. You get the, hey, Roman knows what's up. He took the money. No problem. Roman's got a reason, because everybody's turned on him. I don't turn on my family. So you could do a lot of fun stuff with the ending to make it really crazy. But I feel like that's going to be some moment is going to be really crazy, and it's going to be a great WrestleMania. I have a feeling it's going to be one in which everybody's going to end up talking. Night 2, I think, will be better. So it's going to be a great, great night. Thursday. This week has been amazing. Thursday through Sunday has been amazing. You had Stand and Deliver. That's going to take place now. Saturday afternoon, the Hall of Fame was great. So WrestleMania is going to be great. And you got John Cena as well?
Yes, I got John Cena as well.
John Cena as well caps it off. So pay attention. Adam won last year. We have alternated years. The last 4 years is crazy. The way that the predictions have gone down. I'm expecting WrestleMania to kick off so many beautiful storylines. Cuz finish this bad boy off. Hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes. What made your list?
So a little bit of a thin news and notes segment this week, but really it centers around WWE and possibly getting more talent and becoming richer with that talent. Woo. Earlier this week, New Japan Pro Wrestling announced the abrupt exit of Jeff Cobb following speculation of him joining WWE last month. Cobb also relinquished the IWGP Tag Team Championship that he had just won with his fellow United Emperor stablemate, Callum Newman, on April 5th. It's believed that Cobb will begin his WWE run after WrestleMania 41. Now, Cobb may be joined by former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Tetsuya Naito. On April 16th, New Japan Pro Wrestling provided an update on the status for Naito, revealing that the former 5-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champ is leaving the promotion following the upcoming Dantaku show on May 3rd and 4th. It's been speculated that WWE was making another run at him. Naito may be joined by his Los Ingobernables de Japón stablemate Bushi, who also asked and was granted his release after the May 4th show. But wait, there's more. Former AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May could be joining WWE soon. Reports emerged recently that May is in a contract year, meaning that her deal comes up sometime in 2025. It's believed she signed a 2-year deal when she joined AEW in 2023. Regarding May's contract status, PW Insider has provided an update noting that May's AEW deal still has significant time left on it, and so an imminent WWE debut is unexpected. One source believes her contract will be up in November, while others said it could be even longer than that. Separately, Fightful Select reported that while there are indeed people in AEW who expect her to join WWE, other sources believe she's being wise in maximizing her negotiating power. AEW absolutely hopes that May will stay with the company, according to Fightful, but we'll see. And that's going to do it for this week's wrestling news and notes. Enjoy your WrestleMania, people.
Make sure you follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSTROZ. Help him out. He's paler than Sting at Starcade97. He's been cooped up inside, not getting a lot of sun these days, getting a lot of rain, but not a lot of sun. Make sure you follow my guy on Twitter at AdamRSTROZ. Make sure that everybody, hey, if you agree with Adam's takes or disagree, let him know. He'll be the first to let you know why you're right or wrong, and he'll listen to you. Always great stuff in the world of wrestling. Even now, as we wrap up this podcast, Shawn Michaels sent out a tweet yesterday that he got a VIP experience with the fans watching his John Cena match at Ford Field, WrestleMania 23. Always a great time. I was there in the building. It was surreal. I still haven't gone back really too much and watched that WrestleMania top to bottom. I think that's going to be something on the docket as well. Thank you guys for making it fun for us to record, put out podcasts, be a part of the wrestling community, a small part of the critical community that Triple H doesn't like. But in the end, I think the Lions general manager and Triple H both were saying, hey, sit back, enjoy the shows, eat your popcorn, don't be critical. But here's the thing. The reason why people are critical is because they really do, in the end, love the product. They love what they're watching. They want to see it in a way. And part of engagement is the opportunity to say, I like this, I didn't like that. That's what's fun. In the end, what Triple H and Brad Holmes were saying were, why are there so many podcasts about the Lions? Why are we talking about the Lions? Why are there so many podcasts about wrestling? Just sit back and watch it. Well, in the end, what makes it fun is the community that gets to sit and do basically a weekly focus group talking about your product. Triple H said that they do a focus group weekly to talk about what's going on. At the same time, Adam and I do a weekly focus group, and we talk about our passion, which is the world of professional wrestling. Next 2 nights, follow along. It's going to be fun, WrestleMania. I can't wait to chat it up with my guys in the group chat, and let's see what ends up happening. Follow along next week for the comprehensive recap of the culminating event of the wrestling calendar. It's our Super Bowl. WrestleMania is here. Let's go! Next week, a recap of WrestleMania on the next episode of the Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast.